Well, Stephanie Trethewey was a journalist, a gun TV reporter, in fact, working right across the country. She ended up interviewing a guy who would later become her husband. And they ultimately swapped the big smoke for farm life, moving to rural Tasmania with their 6-month-old son.
Now, before Steph knew it, she had 2 kids under 2 in the middle of a pandemic and loneliness set in. They say it takes a village to raise a child, and she was desperate to find hers. And so Motherland Australia was born, a podcast and online community that connects country mums. Founder and CEO of Motherland Australia, Steph joins us now from her home in rural Tassie. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Great to see you, Steph. Motherland Australia, how does the village actually work? Talk us through it.
Yeah, so I suppose, as you said, I found myself feeling incredibly isolated when we moved here. I actually joke, Kylie and Larry, that I'd love to have some words to your producers from Farmer Wants a Wife, because I feel like I've been sold a bit of a dud. It is not all romantic hay bale dates. I'm still waiting for my date on a hay bale. But my expectations going into rural life were shattered, and I was really alone with 2 young babies, and I really craved to hear stories of rural mums, people struggling with rural life, raising kids on the land. I couldn't find a platform, so I created one. So Motherland started as a podcast. It's had, nudging 500,000 downloads now. And then I had my second baby, Evie. And I realised when I was in Melbourne, when I had my son, I was allocated a mothers group, as a lot of mums are familiar with. I know, Kylie, I think you've had your own mothers group, and I didn't have that here. I didn't have that luxury. And so it kind of dawned on me, surely I'm not the only rural mum who doesn't have access to a mothers group. Did a survey of over 200 rural mums and found that more than 50% don't. And so that's when I created Motherland Village, which is Australia's first online rural mothers group program. So that's how it's all kind of started.
So I guess it's for women who could be obviously geographically isolated, and that geographic isolation leads to emotional isolation. So it is like an online mothers group. Did you ever expect it to grow to this size, or did you think, yeah, it probably will, because you know what, there's a big need?
It started as this tiny side hustle, and I honestly have done all this because being a career-driven woman, having worked in TV and in media, moving here, I felt like I lost me. So Motherland started as a way for journalism Steph, who loves telling stories, to connect with rural mum Steph. But then when I launched Motherland Village, it just took off. And everyone always says, I can't believe this hasn't existed before. But when you think about all the entrepreneurs that some of you have interviewed, they're often just the simplest ideas. So we've taken 137 rural mums in just over 12 months through the program, and we can't keep up with demand. So now we're bringing in ambassadors and training more facilitators to build more of these virtual villages. There's 15 virtual villages across the country, 7 different states, mums from all over. So it's pretty special.
All right, so farming and agriculture is a 24/7 business, we know, and so is motherhood, of course. You mentioned at the top that your expectations didn't really match reality. So just confirming, you don't think that reality television is always real? Is that what you're getting at?
No, I'd love to pitch you on Real Farm Wives of Australia. I think, I think there's something in that. Look, I came in it with rose-tinted glasses, and when you work where you live and you live where you work, plus you've got the seasonal pressures. You've only got to look at what's happening around the country now with flooding, farmers going into harvesting incredibly stressed or who have lost crops. When you're a mum and you're the linchpin that's holding a household together, it's a lot of pressure. And I wasn't prepared for Sam to just leave every day and work 7 days a week. I mean, the last 3 years, he's had only a handful of weekends off because farming is a 24/7 gig. And until you're in the thick of it, it's very hard to know what you've signed up for. And it wasn't in the fine print. But look, I love my life, and there is so much that is to love about life on the land. But raising kids here is incredibly tough, and we don't have the same luxuries that are often afforded parents in sort of city and urban areas.
Steph, what feedback have you got from some of the mums? What have they said that this platform has meant for them and has done for them?
Social connection is the key one. We're seeing incredible friendships form with rural mums from around the country, and something I wasn't prepared for, and it's good timing because next week is Perinatal Mental Health Week, but 90% of the mums that we've surveyed before the program, the ones who said that they were struggling with their mental health, 90% of those women said that the program has improved their mental health. And so when you look at data like that and you see these beautiful friendships, it's so validating to know that we are creating creating something that previously has not existed, and it is growing. So I would love rural women who haven't even got children yet to know that you don't know what you're in for with parenthood, but when you become a mum, when you're a rural mum, Motherland is here for you. And it's my vision that every rural mum in this country who gives birth is connected to Motherland in some way. That's the dream.
Steph, can someone, a mother watching from the city now, who feels a connection with what you're talking about and maybe wants to be a support and want to help, can someone from the city be of any assistance on your website at all?
I would love you to listen to the podcast. You know, the Motherland podcast tells incredible stories. You know, we've had a few big names, Gian Rooney, who's now a macadamia farmer, Katrina Roundtree, wool sheep farmer. We've had a couple of those higher profile rural women draw some attention to the podcast. But the rest are everyday, gritty rural mums. And I'd love city mums to listen too. Motherhood, like, we're all in it together.
Yes.
And so, look, I think there's something for everyone if you give Motherland a crack.
Well, Steph, you're doing great things. Congratulations. We know that you're recognised by the Australian Women's Weekly magazine just recently as someone who's really leading the way in this space. Congratulations on all that you're doing and the difference that you're making.
Thank you so much. So special to be here.
Well, to learn more about Steph's story and Motherland Australia, that's what it's called, you can head over to our website.
Great initiative, great stuff.